This is Vinyl Voices Radio. ESPN 97.5.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm John Goodman.
Dusty Dehan.
All right, we are back again for Vinyl Voices Radio here on ESPN 97.5. Broken Spokes, our music guest, and let's jump right into the next song because so far the first two have been good.
Yeah, this next one is Jesse's favorite Broken Spokes.
That's what I thought.
It's called "Moved Into a Bottle." So, it's actually it's on the album prior, right?
Well, we just released it as a single. We kind of re-recorded it here in the last year. Well, that's a whole nother conversation of content and things. We talked about it a little bit earlier. But yeah, we had re-recorded. This is one of the very first songs that we had kind of written and done as a band.
Yeah, let's check it out.
There are a lot of old country songs that sped up a little bit, makes great punk rock songs.
Well, it's still the kind of three chords in the truth kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. But I don't know, does it work the same way if you take a country song or you take a punk rock song and slow it down to a country song?
Well,
because again, kind of what you're saying though is that like the lyrics stand out.
It boils down to lyrics pretty much. Not so much the melody or whatnot, but yeah,
that's true.
The spirit and the thought is there, right? I mean, punk rock it's more into anger, it's more into, you know, aggressive, right? Where country is kind of the antithesis of that, but it's still kind of all the same. Roots music to me is roots music, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I've always been attracted to that, like what it is. I want to go to the source of whatever we're listening to.
Right.
You know, I'm always, what's the source? And let me find the rawest version of this, and that's what I usually am drawn to, at least personally.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of done this with your music, like the country music that you guys are making. It's like back to the basics. Again, gotta have a fiddle in the band.
She's by far one of the most talented people in this band. It's not even close.
What is it? Are there a lot of fiddle players in town too, or
There's a huge pool of very talented
really?
fiddle players.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
There is.
I mean,
There are.
that's
Well,
good. That's good.
The nice thing I think about Ellen, we've talked a lot about this. So Ellen comes from you've got a bluegrass, a more classical background, I would say, if that's fair, right?
Yes.
I'm talking
and
in
no.
your later years
Yes.
of education.
So I grew up in West Tennessee playing bluegrass, but I was classically trained at the same time. So I had the classical technique, but I was learning fiddle music, and that was the culture that I grew up in, was Appalachian old-time bluegrass, which incidentally are the roots of country music. So my playing has kind of evolved as I've learned country music, and it's helped me feel like I'm a part of a bigger picture, kind of evolving with the music.
And what you see here these days is like there's a lot of these kids grew up playing in these fiddle competitions here, right? So it was all playing fiddle pieces. So they have been programmed since they were 6 years old to play. I mean, just would you like to hear 8,000 notes? Here you go. Let me have it. Right. So they all play in that style.
Right.
And Ellen has been such a breath of fresh air, and even other musicians and people have said it, right, where when it's time to shine and play the notes, she can play them. But when it's time to not do that, she cannot do it extremely well.
Just the song we just heard.
Yes.
You know, like you all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's some fiddle, and it's like smoothly goes right in.
And some of my favorite stuff that she does is on the slower, more simple songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, man, that was great. You know what I mean?
And just like the drummer, you know, it's just we could
Right.
do
And
that.
they want to hit. I'm telling you, he's kept taking things away because if it's there, they're going to hit it. And I don't blame them. I mean, probably hit it too, you know?
No.
But we're like, no, do less, stop, no, do less. So it's pretty much, at one point we had a drummer with a kick hi-hat and snare and be like, if you can't figure, just do this and do it really well the way we're needing you to do it. And so, yeah, that's kind of how our band is.
You're one step away from wood block.
It sounds very punitive. It sounds very punitive.
Wood block.
But we've worked on, trying to get away from the standard, kind of the standard thing of like, let's not do it the way everybody else is doing it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Does that ever work with the vocals where also somebody's like, I've got an idea. Here are the vocals. You're like, nah, man, we got to tone that down some.
I don't think we've ever really had that deal. I think we've had a pretty good democratic rule. I mean, maybe you have got a good idea.
No, I like when I write lyrics, I'm like, oh man, there's like a whole lot of words in here. We're gonna have to like take this one out, take this one out, take this one out, because it's like I'm not much of a singer, and I'll like pitch something to him, and I'm like, here we go. He's like, yeah, maybe like I don't know, maybe put some notes in there or something instead of just a bunch of words all back to back. I'm like, all right, well, take this one off, take this one off.
And that's why we work well together. And I think the group as a whole, we really do collaborate extremely well. Where I don't think a lot of groups, that's a thing that holds a lot of people back, is they don't.
I'm sure a lot of that was honed in the live show too, because part of the reason why that's like my favorite Broken Spoke song is because it's the first one that really grabbed me. Like my wife and I were at Eighth Wonder one night, and y'all were out there playing, and I was like, yeah, it was a while back. Yeah. And I was like, who is this band? And then when I heard that song, I was like, oh man, there's something going on here. This, the lyrics are I mean, if you're that guy in that song, if you ever been that guy, it's like it really just kind of was like, wow. So, but that's, I think y'all play so much live, and you spoke to a little bit earlier, that's really where you catch people, a song like that really is just grabbed my attention. And after that, I was like, okay, I know who these guys are,
I think we're kind of coming into our own a little bit on the songwriting side, right? Because we've always been so focused on just having a good live show that stuff always took a back seat, right? And I think some of that stuff, the recording, the songwriting, all of those things, let's just say finding our own voice, right, has taken a back seat early on to what our goals were. And I think that's still the piece that's exciting, that's evolving, right, with what's going to be next.
How does most of your music come about? Is it the lyrics first, then music, or somebody come up with something, fiddle player, you hear something a little, and then it's like, oh, let's write some lyrics to that?
I usually, it's usually we start with like a hook.
Start with the hook.
Yeah. I'm good at that. I'm not good at finishing the rest of the stuff, which like I said, teamwork makes the dream work. But
Yeah, the 4 o'clock in the morning, you wake up, write this down, send it out to everybody, go back to bed.
You should see like my little notes memo and all that stuff. They're just full of like just little things here, there, little tidbits and whatnot. But like those, what interests me a lot in just listening to music, writing music as well, is hearing those things that catch your ear. Like you got 2 minutes. Most people like lose their attention after a few seconds. You listen to like these bland songs that sound like a million other songs or whatever, and it's like, well, what's the difference between that and like another song that has a hook, that has a catch, or whatever it is that grabs your attention, but why? I like finding that out. I'm nerdy about that stuff, but yeah, the whole finishing it up and stuff. I'm not so nerdy about that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why it's a team.
I'm more of a melody guy, right? I almost gotta, even if I'm doing it with myself, right? I gotta have a place where we shove up from. So I usually start with the melody and all that, and then I'm like, okay, because I gotta get a cadence I'll hum through it or whatever, and try. Okay, I'm starting to get a melody of the vocal, right? And then I'm like, okay, now I can go back, even if I have an idea of maybe what I want the song to be, right? And the last thing I usually typically do is lyrics. So that's why I think a lot of times when Josh will send me stuff or whatever, it's really good. It's easy for me because like that, I'll listen to it and do it, and it's almost like you've done 3/4 of the work. Just finish it up from here.
This song, though, I wrote this song in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Except for about a line. You helped me out.
Yeah, like one line, maybe. Yeah.
But that was just one of those.
And I think when we listened to it, I was like, dude, this is a keeper. We like
Yeah,
it.
for sure. That's
It's
why
been a keeper.
sometimes it's just lightning in a bottle. Like, okay, this is the one.
And
You
that's
got to have your bottle ready. That's
You
that's
do have to
the
have
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. But that's why we re-recorded it, because I think we really love the song. Again, it was one of the very first songs that we ever did, original live. I mean, going way back.
Yeah.
And so we have grown so much as a band with the members and the just the maturity of the band.
Right.
We were like, look, this song is good, and we wanted to make sure that it has its day. And so we said, let's recapture it now as we're doing it live, right? Kind of a more updated version of how you would hear it if you came to a show. And honestly, it did as well. It did the best of any single. Like, we've done the radio thing now with this album and that. I mean, it by far, it was in the top 25 of the Texas country music charts for like 2 or 3 weeks, which is kind of crazy to us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
how that happens. But again, we would agree too. We like, I personally like the song. We all like the song.
Yeah.
Our kids
Your
love
kid's favorite
this song. My kids love this song.
I remember my daughter one day, you can't move into a bottle.
That's crazy.
The school will have to be twice as big.
It was on a houseboat. It's like one of those ship in a bottle things. It's cool. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. Anyways.
You haven't seen those bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor for how sad you make me.
Oh, man.
Are we good?
It's time, right? I thought that's what you were saying earlier.
No.
Oh.
No, actually, what I was going to say is I really want to hear how the songs develop in y'all's style. Like, do you write the words, send them to you to work up lyrics and stuff? How does the fiddle come in? Is it the last thing?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
And say, man, this will sound really good here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's since we're already at like 15, 16 minutes now. So let's take another break. When we get back, we'll talk. Oh, wait. No, this is a third segment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll make it quick. It takes a good melody, some good lyrics, and some chords.
Done.
Done. That's the recipe.
You guys got any more beer in that fridge?
We're about to write something. We're about to write the best song you ever heard.
be writing the song right now.
Yeah. Now, want to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of Vinyl Voices Radio with the Broken Spokes. Appreciate you guys coming and hanging out.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
And you can, check them out online. Music's everywhere. Videos, YouTube, shows. Go see a live show, because that's where you get the most out of these bands.
Bring your dancing boots.
Bring your dancing boots. I'm going to bring my dancing, what am I wearing? Vans.
Dancing
That'll work.
Shorts. Yeah, my dancing shorts.
Yeah.
No, but it's been fantastic. Great talking to you guys, and stick around for the fourth segment. That if you're watching on YouTube, you will, be moved over to that video here shortly. And want to thank Frank's Pizza for supplying some excellent pizza every time. 417 Travis. Never been to Frank's Pizza, go get some. And of course, Spindle Tap for supplying us some beer for tonight's show, and Adley Law Firm for making this whole thing happen. Talk to everybody next week.
To get myself to sleep at night, I pack my bags and...
This is Vinyl Voices, brought to you by Adley Law Firm, Houston's personal injury attorneys for 30 years.
into a bottle.